In other news, another variation of the coronavirus has now appeared in the U.S. This one is coming from Brazil. It was found in a patient in Minnesota who recently traveled there. Other mutations have already been reported in the United Kingdom and in South Africa. And our CBN News medical reporter, Lori Johnson, is now here with us to discuss this. And Lori, tell us about these mutations. I'm hearing that they're far more infectious.
Absolutely, they are. And it's very concerning to health officials, Gordon, because the UK variant, the one from Britain, has already been detected in about half of the states in the U.S. And it's expected to be the most dominant variant by March. And this one is at the very least 30% more transmissible. So 30% more contagious. So folks have that much more of a risk. It's so much easier to get than the strain that we've been dealing with up until for the last year or so. And then we've got these other two strains. The one from Brazil has been detected in only one state. And then the South African variant, very serious, hasn't been detected at all. There is a travel ban from South Africa. We need to hope and pray that it doesn't make its way to the U.S.
Well, tell us, from the early indication, are these variants more deadly?
That's a great question. And so the UK variant up until now has not seemed to be more deadly, but there are some new reports out of the UK that it might be, so further study needs to be done. The real concern is that South African variant, because we know that the vaccines do not work as well on that South African variant. They still work, but only about 70 to 85%. And as you know, Gordon, we've been hearing these wonderful 95% efficacy rates. That's not the case with this South African variant.
Well, should the government literally shut our borders and say no one travels? Is that the solution?
Well, that is what's happening right now. So there are travel bans in place from places like Brazil, South Africa, the UK, and many other European nations. So that is something that's happening, and it is expected to slow it down. Will it be enough? Because these variants are so contagious, we'll have to wait and see. So it's literally a race from the vaccines to the variants. Can people get vaccinated in time and slow the spread of these variants? Because remember, mutations only happen when the disease spreads.
Well, the more the virus is reproducing, that's what leads to the more variation that gives them more opportunity to. So I guess this underlines the need to vaccinate. Back to the travel ban, it's one thing to ban travel from a particular country, but what if someone from South Africa, say, goes to Sweden and then travels to the United States? Don't we need a total travel ban just to be absolutely sure we're not bringing the variant here?
Absolutely. And this is the conversation we had about 10 months ago with China. We had the travel ban from China, but what if someone from China goes to another place and then comes here? The good news is all international travel is being monitored, and people cannot enter the United States without a negative COVID test. The problem, Gordon, is some people are falsifying those tests. So there is an absolute monitoring system in place, but is it foolproof? No.
Well, let me ask you one more disturbing question, and that is, given the mutation and given that the virus has already proven it mutates quite quickly, is that going to cause the government to make vaccination mandatory?
There's no talk about that right now, Gordon, but what the government is doing is partnering with some of these vaccine companies like Moderna to make a new vaccine that is resistant to this variant. So Moderna is already in phase 1 clinical trials for this new booster shot that might be more effective. And so this is what we see with mutations every year, for example, with the flu vaccine, where you can sort of tweak the vaccine to adjust to the new variants. Of course, we talk about phase 1 trials, then phase 2 clinical trials. Moderna has already said they're not going to do phase 3 trials. It takes too long and involves too many thousands of people. So that this new booster that is aimed at fighting the South African variant is only going to go through 2 phases of trials.
All right. Well, Lori, thanks for being with us. And If you want to stay up to date and get Lori's latest on the virus and on these mutations, all you have to do is download the CBN News.